Food has never been sexier in Britain. But is our obsession with it healthy, or is it all getting a bit pornographic? We've never been so bombarded by seductive images of food, in glossy magazines and television programmes and best-selling books. People often say that the new foodie culture is a sign that the standards of eating in Britain are improving, but I'm not sure I buy that. Just as people who watch a lot of porn don't necessarily have more or better sex, we're actually cooking less and less. We're drooling over Nigella and Jamie, while a pre-cooked TV dinner circles gloomily in the microwave. I wonder whether foodie culture is actually a sign that we have a weird and dysfunctional relationship with the stuff we're putting in our bodies. Stephen Wheeler is a food stylist.
We're about ready for sauce, I think.
It was news to me that such a profession even existed. Today, he and food photographer Steve Lee are having problems with a detumescent piece of cheesecake.
It's trying to be as suggestive, some might say as phallic as possible, in that it's really, you know, putting across all these subliminal messages of, I want to eat you.
A lot more.
When food is shot too close up, it's like pornography. It's like food with its legs open.
You're going to run him down there and that's it, just a touch.
And when that happens, I can't take it seriously. There's nothing left for the imagination, you know?
Food manufacturers, the media, and some celebrity chefs are conspiring to make food seem sexier and more seductive than it's ever been. But there's a growing gap between the fantasy they sell us and the reality. My years in the fashion industry taught me that designer fashion is mostly hype. I wondered if the food industry might be heading the same way. So I'm here in London's Leicester Square at a foodie opening do for Haagen-Dazs. It's a star-studded party will take place. Model Lisa Butcher, that's who she is it, a model, will be the first person to indulge in the 156,000-mile dessert. Guests will be invited to let their tongues travel. Why are you here? Famous chef outside a Haagen-Dazs cafe.
Well, actually, it's still compatible because Haagen-Dazs has basically commissioned me to create a great dessert, a global dessert, which takes all these flavors from elsewhere.
The campaign's done let your tongue travel, and the thinking behind it is very much that Haagen-Dazs, which the world's finest ice cream, creating the finest ingredients from around the world, really helps you recapture those experiences.
We live in a world where two things have happened lately in Britain: sex and food. That's two newly discovered things.
And are the two together?
Yeah, of course they go together.
Yeah. People who love Haagen-Dazs are very discerning. They set very high standards for themselves, and they're willing to go a great distance, literally or figuratively, to get the very, very best. And they're always seeking out new experiences. And so we should cut that because that's gone completely bloody.
So you've got like celebrities coming.
Oh, Toby Allen says fixed Girls Aloud. Matt Goss.
Matt Goss was a no-show, but that wasn't the only disappointment. Are you in a boy band? What was the name of them? Boisterous. Boisterous? Oh, right. In its combination of minor celebrity, ice statues, and what seemed to me like meaningless hype, I couldn't help but be reminded of those fashion industry events I'd sworn I'd never go to again. How much are you getting paid? Let's cut to the chase. How much are you getting paid? Found Lisa Butcher. What are you doing?
Is the ice cream coming out, isn't it?
I don't know, it's got your name on a press release, but it says...
Yeah, I don't know, ice cream is sort of...
156,000-mile dessert. What do you know about it?
I don't know anything about it, to be honest.
What do you think about the increasing obesity of the British nation? What would you put it down to? Is this it? 156,000 miles. This is not it! This is not it! At least Lisa Butcher's finally eating something. There's one big thing food manufacturers aren't telling us. Eat too much of food like theirs and suddenly you're not really sexy after all. You're fat. You're ostracised and ridiculed. Fat people are the new junkies. As a nation, we're getting fatter and fatter. The majority are now classed as overweight. But when was the last time you saw a fat person in an advert? The way food is marketed today isn't as honest as it could be. And maybe it's time to address that in the way it's been tackled for tobacco. Well, this place here has a special place in my heart in that I can get food that's, number one, inexpensive or cheap. It's good on the pocket, and that gives you kind of a double-edged sword. One, you can go out and spend more money on other things, but two, you start worrying about, you know, where is it coming from? And I've got a bit of a thing against cheap food, but I can't resist it. It's a thrift in me. This is how I've been brought up. This is how my nan took me shopping in Morecambe, and we'd go to shops like Hitchens and get the cheapest, you know, socks that were slightly odd. And then some of the packaging, it's like being on an exotic holiday. You go in this place and you go around and all of a sudden you're in Albania or you're in somewhere in Eastern Europe, or you're in Turkey, or you're in Greece. But really, I'm in Wembley. I shared my obsession with Sean Beer, a sociologist who studies the food industry. I don't think he approved.
If you look back at what my parents used to spend on food, they used to spend about 20% of their income on food. And now I look after my family, we spend about 10% of our income on food. So food per se is as cheap as it has ever been.
Yeah, but is that good for us though? I mean,
well, there's one quote that says that we scour the world's dustbins looking for cheap food. It's almost like exporting your moral conscience as an export product from the UK. So, maybe that's our biggest export, our moral conscience.
So that's there. You know, there's this fight between my moral conscience, and I am a reasonably moral person, and the fact of being thrifty. Yeah. You know, how can I want to get around it.
I have that dilemma all the time. I try to go out and maybe buy direct from farmers or from farm shops.
When we go to the farmers market, are we being ethical then?
That's an interesting question.
Or is it a load of pikeys who are pretending to be farmers?
Oh no, could I say that?
I tell you what, some of those people that I see at my local farmers market, I see at car boot sales selling dodgy videos on a Sunday morning, and they just dress up. Sunday morning it's dress up as a dodgy video seller. Friday afternoon, farmers market, put a bit of grass behind you. What do you think about the British attitude towards food?
I think it's a bit like our attitude to sex. We like to watch it on television, read about it in books, but only do it for real once a month on a Saturday night. I mean, the average cooking time for a meal, all the meals in a day in this country, is now down to 20 minutes. And our reliance on pre-prepared meals and processed foods is going up. In a couple of generations, the only cooking skills our children will have is the ability to press 6 buttons and wait for the ping on the microwave.
There was something I hadn't told Sean about our trip to the supermarket. You'll be seeing the tin mushrooms and pineapple chunks and frozen boil-in-the-bag salmon I bought there again. Later in the programme, some unsuspecting foodies are going to be scoffing them. Do you get a discount if the tins are bent? It's becoming clear to me that something weird is happening with food culture in Britain. While the working class eats more and more cheap junk food, the kind of food they used to eat, like offal, tripe, pig's trotters, has been colonised by fashion-conscious gourmands in the middle class. St John is a restaurant in the City of London. I met food writer Giles Coran there.
What should we? So
Bone marrow. Are you having snipe?
We're having bone marrow snipe. Should we get some chicken wings then?
I think you should.
This is like full of food that I'm sure that my family would think that poor people eat.
He cooks the whole animal. His whole thing. His philosophy guy here, Fergus Henderson, nose to tail eating, he calls it. Often there's a crispy pig's ear salad, which is really nice. He does the tails, he does the snout, he do the head. I don't think he does the eyes, but they probably go in somewhere.
That is your bone marrow.
We started with the bone marrow.
And that is your snipe.
See, I feel like I should start barking and
that's
slavering
what-
now or something.
This is all the stuff that carries the information from the brain via the central nervous system.
But look at it.
What do you mean look at it? I am looking at it. It looks absolutely wonderful. You'll notice that it smells faintly spermy.
It doesn't smell nice. Oh my god. It's just wet and nasty. I'm hungry. So it's going down, but it's not something I'd order again. And I won't be going home and saying, God, I've just tasted the greatest thing. We must go out to the butcher, ask for his dog bones, and we'll cook them this weekend.
Then came the snipe, a small wading bird.
That's its beak, isn't it? It's not like I want it. If it was in curry sauce or something, it'd be all right. Curried up. No, I don't. I really don't like
This
that.
will probably taste a bit.
I really, really don't like it.
Really?
No.
Emily, yeah. You would try that then.
What is it?
That's.
This is turning into a bloody nightmare.
No. That's.
How is something that my family, that we all worked really hard to get away from, is suddenly the height of fashion?
You're talking about.
Is that an irony?
Yeah, because you're talking about the actual period in which English cuisine died, when food production collapsed completely because of the war, and they had to start up again, and cheap food had to be produced from nowhere on the back of rationing without any kind of farming, all the land, all the machinery gone and melted down to make bombs and stuff. We had to start again, and it became intensive, it became pesticide driven, the money became the leading thing, and the nutrition and the traditions were all lost, and that's when food started being bad. And that's the time exactly right, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, that's when everything went wrong. And all that happens with this kind of cooking now in the 90s and in the 21st century is a return to the position that we were in the 18th, 19th centuries.
Just when I thought things couldn't get much worse, the chitterlings arrived.
It's just pig's intestine. When you eat, it all gets mulched down in your large intestine and gradually falls through smaller and smaller, and it has to go through a big process before it comes out as a turd. And it goes through these little tubes. It's a little internal helter-skelter for a piggy swill to go round and round and round before coming out into piggy poo.
They wash it out with water.
We hope.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
It doesn't smell nice. No, it's not nice. It's not nice.
Try again, you big girl.
No, 'cause it's not nice. What's the point? What's the point? I can't understand. It's not something in my mind that's suddenly eating that. That doesn't taste nice. I know what taste is. Do you think we can now kind of separate out society and class, not by money, but by what we eat?
Yes, to the same kind of person who can go and watch an art house movie, read a novel, go for a walk, enjoy classical music, might well come and eat this kind of food. Someone who the limit of their capabilities is watching EastEnders, reading The Sun, sitting in a car farting, and then they go and I'll go and have a Big Mac, and immediately, sugar, salt, all very simple, very easy. It is the end of the lowest common denominator. Everything that they do is bland and dull and pointless.
Well, we don't want our cities to be, one side people who know how to eat and stay healthy, and the other side fat buggers who are just getting fatter and fatter, costing us money on the NHS.
They've always eaten badly. In the past, it's because they had to, and now it's because they choose
to eat this because.
A bit of bacon.
That's not bacon.
Look at that. Lovely.
It's not bacon.
Is it not? Have I tricked you? Oh, it's the rectal lining. Silly me.
The papers are full of the boom there's been in expensive and fashionable restaurants in Britain. But is that really proof that we understand food better? Or rather that we're getting more and more detached from it? Ramon Farthing is a Michelin, or should I say Michelin, starred chef. I challenged him to create a fabulous meal using only the bargain basement ingredients I'd bought in the supermarket earlier on. These people consider themselves amongst a new breed of discerning British foodies. Could Ramon fool them into thinking it's the kind of meal they'd get in a fancy London restaurant?
So what's on the menu then? What we're starting with?
We've got salmon steaks, but obviously Liddell's do frozen salmon steaks. The point is, do they know that it's a frozen salmon? A farmed frozen salmon. This is the worrying one for me. We're using tinned pineapple, look.
Yeah. Tinned mushrooms.
Tinned mushrooms.
All good stuff, yeah.
Which we've disguised by cooking the garnish for the bourguignon with shallots and bacon, so the mushrooms are now taken on the flavours of those things.
So it's cost you £21, and we want to make them feel as if they've been to a restaurant.
Yeah.
That they would have paid 50, 60 quid for the meal?
At least, yeah.
Something like that. Can you do it?
Yeah.
Sounds like one of them programmes. Sounds like one of them cookery
Can you do it?
programmes.
Yeah, can you do it? Yeah, we can do
And
it.
you've got hair like Gary Ross.
No, I don't know.
So you're all part of a restaurant club. You all go out eating quite regularly. Yeah. How often do you go out?
3 times a week, 4 times a week.
But 4 meals in a week. That's
One of them might be lunch, one of them might be a business lunch.
That's a lot of money, isn't it? How much is that?
It is.
I've never added it up.
Oh, I'd hate to think. Probably about 150, 200 pounds a week.
Can you cook?
Oh no, I don't cook.
They're not interested in what I was saying now. Their eyes are on the food.
Lightly marinated sandwich done with lime and basil, with a little courgette and cherry tomato tartlet, and a little olive oil, balsamic and tomato dressing on the outside. All right?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
I think the salmon is really nice and tender, really cooked very well, flavours coming out of it. Actually, you put it in your mouth, it sort of melts, or to me anyway, it melts away in the mouth.
Yeah.
You can't hear what's being said up there, but yeah, they're absolutely raving about the food and the salmon. Well, the salmon, it was one of the nicest salmon that they've ever tasted. It melted in their mouth.
Do you class yourself as designer eaters?
I wouldn't say designer is important. What's important is fresh ingredients. I mean, even well presented doesn't matter if it's good fresh ingredients.
So Ramon,
Right, we've got a little roast fillet of Scotch beef with a little beef Scotch beef bourguignon, honeyed vegetables, and a little bourguignon sauce to go with it. Okay.
What's this?
That's a little beef bourguignon with classic bourguignon garnish. All right. Okay.
I'm going straight for the kill.
It's very succulent, beautifully. The vegetables are wonderful. You can just taste that honey flavour.
Beautiful.
Really
Perfect.
beautiful.
Tender cooked.
If you were to name a restaurant where you could get food like this, would there be one?
I think Jamie Oliver's 15 was...
Quite similar.
Yeah. This is a very modern British dish, I would say. I mean, if you go around a restaurant, this would be what we would call modern British style.
I've never eaten at 15, but at 15 for a meal like this, what would you expect to pay?
That's it.
60 quid a head, plus including wine.
The souffle, they will have that, without doubt, and they won't in any way know what that is, without doubt.
Oh my god.
$2 for this, you know.
Just don't fall over.
Be Jesus.
You've got a hot pineapple souffle with vanilla white chocolate cream, macerated pineapple, and that's just a little pineapple compote on top. Okay.
That's beautiful. That's nice. I wouldn't normally choose pineapple, but that is absolutely stunning.
I would normally say I hate pineapple, but
That is beautiful.
It's beautiful, quite refreshing.
Has anybody shop there?
Everything's from Lidl.
It is?
You see?
So,
Well, I'm quite amazed.
pineapple slices in syrup. So the vegetables came out of the tin, obviously.
no.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're kidding.
That
That was in the book.
The salmon was boil in the bag.
No way.
Boil in the bag, little salmon.
I don't believe it.
Okay, my whole opinion is changed.
The salmon I was really worried about. That was the one thing I was worried about, because I could taste.
Is that why you marinated it?
I had to. There's no question I had to, but it was, you know.
It was pretty good. I'm impressed.
I'm seriously.
I would have been of the opinion that you could take good ingredients and a horrible chef and have a good meal, and no matter and if the ingredients were horrible, no matter how good the chef, it couldn't be good. But I'm obviously totally wrong.
So if we can't tell the difference between fresh food and frozen, organic and non-organic, healthy and bad, eating in smart restaurants just can't be the way to understand and appreciate food, whatever the hype says.
We think sometimes that you can only get good food by eating in a certain way, when really you could all have a Ramon locked as a gimp in your basement. And there's probably plenty of blocks with spiky hair.
You don't know that, do you?
Can't.
This is the Karai King, an Indian restaurant close to my office in Wembley. I had dinner there with the owner, Mohammed, and his family.
I sometimes wonder that if a lot of white British people have lost that way of family eating. And it kind of worries me that, you know, that as a nation, you know, gradually we're losing this thing, because there's nothing like sitting around as a family, is there?
That's true. That's true. We still have family support, whereas in European way of life, you have lost that, and that's the key.
I know, like, so many of my friends just wouldn't even know how to, like, boil an egg. And, like, you know, when you go to university, you're suddenly, like, all of a sudden, you're by yourself, you have to cook meals for yourself. And some people just have no clue how to, like, do the basic things.
So all the men around this table can cook.
My dad still got his old recipe book, which obviously I'm gonna get into it. Yeah. When was it?
It is 1944.
So there's recipes going back before 1944.
That's right.
Do you never feel like, you know, you've been to Tesco, you've been wherever, and you'll see a prepared meal? It could be lasagna, or it could be a Chinese.
No, never. Because I know how to cook.
Maybe the solution to our problems with food is right under our noses. We need education about food, self-confidence about cooking, and an awareness of what's good for us and what's not. I like the relationship Mohammed's family have with what they eat. It's about nourishment, friends, family and love. Food shouldn't be yet another aspirational accessory to a designer lifestyle.
What happens to the family that eats together?
What happens?
It stays together. It stays together.
It stays together.
Full prisons and the highest execution rates in the world. Was George W.'s solution to Texas's crime problems an example for Great Britain? Fall's Texas season continues tomorrow at 7:30. But next tonight, Dermot goes into the Shattered Lab live.